So movies and film is a medium that has been around for the longest of time. And yes, IMDb also rates video games and TV shows and other things of the sorts, and basically, yeah, a lot of things can be rated on IMDb. You know, but yes, today we're talking about the greatest movies of every year since 2000. 2000 was basically, yes, the beginning of this century. And yes, a lot of people will say, oh, but the defining movies of the last century. But of course, film has improved a lot more since CGI and everything. And every time from 2020 all the way to 2000. So what are the best films of all of those years? Or movies? 2020, yes. So we have two movies, really. Sonic and Impractical Jokers, the movie. Judging based off the scores, Sonic is the better movie. And yeah, Mulan does not deserve any awards because that movie is a pile of garbage. It's a Disney remake, so it deserves its 1 out of 10 for being lazy and just retraining the same idea. There's also there's also very, very bad theories about what they did filming this movie as well. But yes, today we're talking about Sonic. Sonic is probably the best video game based movie. Not movie that revolves around video games, but the best game movie of all time. It beats out many movies I like that are based off video games. Rampage and the Angry Birds movie and Detective Pikachu. Detective Pikachu used to be my favorite video game based movie. But Sonic is better. Sonic portrayed the Sonic character actually pretty good. Even better than a lot of Sonic games themselves. He was a pretty good character. Human characters are actually pretty good. And yes, Dr. Eggman, of course, or Dr. Robotnik, same guy, of course, had that amazing performance as Jim Carrey. I think that, yes, he has the perfect choice out of any actor to play Jim Carrey in a movie about Sonic. You know, now we're getting to the year before the whole virus came around. We're going to last year, 2019. 2019 had its fair share of amazing movies. Yes, the bad movies that came out in 2019 do exist, but yes, I have seen a lot of 2019 movies. But my favorite movie of the year is not Endgame. Endgame is only 8 out of 10. There was lots of problems of Endgame I do not like. But yes, it is... Where is it? There it is, Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel, I like sci-fi movies. Alita Battle Angel's universe was a very, breath of fresh air compared to most of the sci-fi universes saying, okay, well, let's just take ideas from Star Wars, or, take ideas from the Hunger Games. Alita Battle Angel, it had this very great cyberpunk world. The characters are all good. And yes, all the acting is pretty great. Yeah, and of course the critics are dumb. They give this... It's just sad that my favorite movies of 2020 and 2019 have less than a 60 Metascore. But yes, Alita Battle Angel is an amazing movie and film, and yes, you should see it. I'm not going to spoil the film for you. The world is amazing, the characters, the acting, the visuals. Alita Battle Angel probably has some of the best visuals, or had the best visuals of any movie this year. Sorry, Lion King, you suck. Your fully realistic animals are way less impressive than Alita's visuals. Sorry, but Animal Planet does not make best visuals. 2018. Oh dear God, this year. 2019 has the most reviews of anything. And judging based off all these scores, we have to suffer for all of these movies. But there are a few movies that are better than the others. And yes, but we'll be basing it off of my rating. So all of the movies I gave a 10 out of 10 to: Dragon Ball Super Broly, Deadpool 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Alpha, Infinity War. Yeah, it just goes on and on and on forever. But my favorite movie and the most impactful movie of the year is actually the most popular movie of that year. Infinity War, of course, introduced us one of the greatest. It basically tied up all of the MCU movies together in this one big finale. Endgame just felt like it was cleaning up Infinity War's scraps. It was kind of like, yep, it's the ending. We have to undo the bad things all Thanos did. It's kind of like they had to. It's kind of like Dragon Ball, where they have to undo bad things that the villain did. Kind of like that. But yeah, Infinity War. Everybody was so excited for it. It was so epic. All of these, you could see all these characters team up and fight a common threat, and it's even better than the first Avengers, because this is not just some random guy with a staff named Loki. This is the big guy who has been behind the whole events of Loki attacking New York City. Thanos saying, "Oh, no one is really doing anything, so I guess I have to get off my big cell and do it myself." And basically get all the stones. Thanos is a very, very well developed character and a very well thought out character. I think, yes, Thanos probably has the most development out of any character in a comic book movie, because, yes, they basically, besides, of course, Iron Man and a few other characters that have been around the MCU much longer, but out of all the villains, Thanos probably has, the most development. And of course, it brings up the new conflicts, like the new conflict that started in the beginning between Star-Lord and Iron Man, all the other new conflicts that have happened, the fact that Iron Man and Captain America refused to help each other because of the events of Civil War. It really shows the consequences of Civil War, how basically instead of Thanos, fighting two different, basically making the stones easier for Thanos to get, because one of the stones is in a separate area and the other one's in a different area. So yeah, basically Thanos can get them easier once he beats all those others. But of course, honorable mention is Bohemian Rhapsody. Of course, if you like the songs of Queen, if you like the history of Queen, yes, it's definitely a good movie for you. And even if you're not even a fan, and even if you're not even a big fan of them, it's still an amazing experience. 2017. So 2017 was kind of a weird year for movies. Some people say it's one of the best years for film, blah, 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 but I'm not going to watch the millions of, those movies. And of course, my favorite film of the year is Blade Runner 2049. It's just, Blade Runner 2049 was just a sequel that was very long coming. Basically, it was the long-awaited sequel to Blade Runner. Basically, they have to go around and, track down for Blade Runner's Dick Grayson, who has been for 30 years. And it's kind of like the uncovering mysteries. Some guy, they have to... it's basically a very hard movie to explain. But of course, another good movie is Dunkirk. I really liked the fact, I watched it once. Yeah, Blade Runner I only saw 2 years ago. Dunkirk was very good. The war scenes were pretty good. And yeah, basically was a pretty good story. Nolan, of course, his expert filmmaking, of course, makes it the best film, second best film of the year, besides Blade Runner 2049, which was a pretty good sequel to a movie that revolutionized the sci-fi genre to begin with. And really, Blade Runner 2049, the story is great, the characters are great, the arcs are great, and yeah, it's just a pretty good movie. But again, not everybody's gonna want to watch the runtime of Blade Runner 2049. 2016. Okay, we'll go back. 2016 in film. What is my favorite movie of 2016? I'm just buying time until this loads. Okay, let's put this into 2 parts. 2010 to 2020. This will be the 2010s then. I was planning to do 2010, but Google does not want to load. at all. So yeah, it's now we're going to 2016. And no, best movie of 2016 is not Zootopia. That movie is very overrated. 2016, there's only a few good movies, great movies from that year. Two of them are comic book movies. And the rest of the games, they think that gave 10 out of 10s to were video games and TV shows. So, yes, we have basically three choices. We have Civil War, Deadpool, and Hacksaw Ridge. And I would basically give my favorite movie 2016 to Deadpool. Deadpool is Deadpool. How can you not hate Deadpool? Deadpool is a very funny movie, and yeah, that's Deadpool. There. But my favorite film of 2016 is Hacksaw Ridge. The movie actually got nominated for Best Picture, you know, there. So yeah. And the storyline was pretty great. They really made the movie pretty great. The cinematography of this movie was great. The storyline, basically about a guy who wanted to join the battle, but he basically wanted to be like a medic. And basically he was a very instrumental part to that battle where he went around and saved many lives. And instead of fighting, he just basically snuck around and got people down. And basically, yeah, it was a pretty good story. Very great World War II movie. Pretty underrated, in fact. People always say Saving Private Ryan is the best World War II movie of all time. No, I think this is probably one of the best of all time. Next movie on the list is 2015. I'm surprised I haven't reviewed many movies from 2015. 2015 had a lot of good movies, but no movies that I would really say were one of my favorites, and now the site won't even roll at all. Maybe I might have to just make a 2015. Yeah, now it is voted. So, what is my favorite movie of 2015? And there aren't really many good answers. So, my highest rated movie of I've realized I have not really seen much movies of 2015. Really, and I always talk about how 2014 was an important year for film. But the movies I'll be talking about is The Martian and Jurassic World. The Martian is a pretty good movie, pretty good story about a guy who gets stranded on Mars. Seen it a few times. It's pretty great. It was based off an upscale novel. And yeah, basically this movie was very popular. Basically, it's about a guy who became stranded on Mars. He is assumed to be dead. He basically has to find a way to find a signal to Earth and survive. Yeah, pretty good movie. And then it's Jurassic World. Yes, we got brought back to the world of Jurassic Park for the first time. And Jurassic World, it was pretty fun. It was fun to watch. I like the new dinosaurs. I just like the fact that we got brought back to one of my childhood universes. I didn't give Jurassic Park a 10 out of 10 because there was just a few plot holes in the movie that I was pretty jarring because I've seen this movie like 8 to 10 times at this point. But yes, Jurassic World is still a fun movie to watch. It's still good. The characters are still good. The new characters are still, yeah. Now we get into 2014, a year that I used to assume was the weakest year in all of this decade of film. But yeah, next we get into 2014. And ironically, there's more, and I think this is probably because of video games more than films. Same thing with 2014. But yes, 2014 had a lot of good movies, actually. 2014, because I used to look at box, I was like, oh, this is not that amazing. There was only one movie of the year that made $1 billion, but I realized that money is not the most important to success. So we have many films of the year. But of course, we gotta go over 2 movies. Guardians of the Galaxy and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is an amazing sequel to Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and basically you have to see that movie first. But yeah, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is, I think, a pretty good story. Basically, it's after humanity basically got wiped out of the virus, which was released unknowingly to the population. And yeah, basically it made the apes smart. It made chimpanzees and other apes smart, but it hurt humans. Pretty sad for humans. And Guardians of the Galaxy, it was a surprising movie that I think nobody was expecting to be this good. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, it's funny. It's great. Guardians of the Galaxy, pretty good story. You know, all these people who are not considered that great, kind of like, even in the movie they get sent to a jail. But yeah, they are eventually at the end of the movie. They all basically, despite the differences and everything else, they realize that yes, because though they do have a lot of common, they're kind of like family. They get along pretty well. It also makes for a lot of funny scenes, a lot in the storyline and character development for the movie. And yes, Civil Winter Soldier, again, the story about Bucky and stuff, and yeah, that's pretty good as well, but that didn't really win the award. Next is 2013. Next year is 2013. 2014 is an odd year for movies. There weren't too many amazing ones. There's Dragon Ball Z Battle Gods, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z Battle Gods, I like it because it's Dragon Ball. And yes, it's still pretty funny and still pretty great. But if we want to talk about a American film, the best movie of 2014, besides, of course, would probably be Russ or Iron Man 3. Russ was a pretty good movie. The storyline was pretty great. The characters were pretty great. It was basically about one of the big rivalries of the 1970s between two Formula One rivals. It was pretty good. The storyline was pretty good. You know, basically one of the guys was pretty overconfident, and yes, they said, no, don't do it. You make it hurt. He did it anyways, and yes, basically at the end, they became pretty good friends. And yes, the movie was pretty great. Dragon Ball Z Battle Gods, of course, it was a movie that I liked watching. Dragon Ball is pretty fun to watch. It's Dragon Ball. Expect what you expect from Dragon Ball. And yes, I know Dragon Ball is not for everybody, so of course I decided to go through the other movies. 2012. Of course, we all know what 2012 is. Oh, the video is still recording? Oh, yes. I'm sorry that I wasted a minute of your time. Next movie we'll be talking about is The Avengers. Of course, The Avengers is an iconic movie. It is a movie that basically everybody, everybody loves The Avengers. But yeah, all in seriousness, The Avengers basically type a new series of movies called the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was the first time we've seen all of these heroes go and team up for the first time in history. You know, basically, yes, DC could have done this earlier if they did the expand, yes, expand the DC universe, too, but yeah. They really didn't. But yeah, the Avengers, you got, we basically what we got. You got the Avengers team. Of course, some people say, oh, but the movie's so bland, overrated, blah, blah, blah. But most of those people are in the complete minority, So yeah, Avengers, of course, 2012. Next year is 2011. 2011 is my favorite movie film of 2011 is Rise of the Planet of the Apes. It's the only movie that really sticks out from that year. Basically, Basically a substance to help the brain propel gives the intelligence to chimpanzee. Basically, his owner, or no, basically a scientist, he adopts the ape, and they become pretty good friends, kind of being like a surrogate father to the ape as well. The storyline is pretty good. It goes, you know, in depth how the apes, rose on Earth. How they rose out of basically just a disease. Basically, the story is pretty great. Basically, explains why how to take apes took over the planet, and I think all the Planet of the Apes movies are very good film and have very good storytelling. Yes, they did end it at the third movie, and sadly, the films that will end they're making a fourth one because of Disney's greed. Probably won't be as great as the first three, but yep, there we go, Planet of the Apes. And no, not talking about TV shows or games in this video. And then last is 2010. 2010. Oh, that's 2009. Last is 2010, and of course we all know the best film of the year was Inception, another one of Christopher Nolan's masterpieces. Christopher Nolan gets literally 2 films of the year, this decade. Of course, the franchise with the most films is the MCU. Of course, that's the only franchise that probably has multiple films owing to any sort of title. Inception, of course, is an amazing movie. I think that everybody should see this movie. It's just an amazing movie, amazing experience. The CGI is great, the characters are great, the storyline is great, and basically the ending is pretty great, but it is pretty confusing. I think that everybody should see this movie at least one point in their lives, or else they're missing out why this movie was so amazing. So there we go. That is the best movie films from 2010 to 2020. Best movie of the decade, best movie, basically. But yeah, I will tell you what best movie of the decade is. There was no shock, but yeah, I'm not telling you. That's basically it. Goodbye. No, it's best films of the decade, not best movies.